Or stop apologizing. Day 50. Skill 3. Persistence. I've heard a lot of people say things like a goal is a dream with a deadline, or you've got to give yourself a timeline. I struggle with that idea because none of the success I've experienced in my personal life has been quick. If I had given myself a timeline of a year or even two, I would have given up a long time ago. It took me 2 years to grow enough of a social media following that a literary agent would take me seriously enough to consider my book proposal. It took another 6 months after that to submit the proposal to publishing houses to see if an editor would take a chance on a cookbook deal. It was 18 more months before that book hit the market. So much work was necessary just to get to that place. I posted a couple of pictures on Instagram recently. The first picture was from my very first TV segment for the local morning news. I had pitched for months and finally gotten booked for a segment on National Junk Food Day, wearing the KTLA morning news team, and I tried out the weirdest junk food on the market at that point. Think deep-fried Oreos and pickles brined in cherry Kool-Aid. Peabody material it was not. The second picture I shared was from my very first time on the Today Show. In it, I'm the feeling in a Huda and Kathy Lee sandwich, and I'm smiling so big and brightly that my face is about to crack in half. I was ecstatic that day because I had always wanted to be booked for a segment on the Today's Show. What I need to point out, besides the fact that my hair looked so much better after I started going to a real colorist instead of using dye from a big box, is that the first picture is from 2010 and the second photo is from 2018. 8 years, you guys. It took me 8 years to achieve that goal, and the road was long and hard. It started with that just junk food segment, and after that I begged, borrowed, and stole to land more opportunities. I would snag a 4th of July BBQ segment here or a Thanksgiving Day segment there. At the time, I was flying solo at work, which meant that every single time I convinced someone to have me on their show, I had to find a way to make it work with no money and no help. I could only buy props that I could easily hide the price tag for, so I could return them after the show. I would buy whole design, set, straighten, and clean up all by myself. I changed from setup clothes to on-air clothes in girls' bathroom stalls or in the back seat of my car. Local news shows don't tend to have the nicest accommodations. Usually by that point I would have sweat off all my makeup and my hair would be a frizzy mess. I wasn't cute, but my table was, and I was always prepared to give the funniest, most informative segment they'd ever seen on everything from St. Patrick's to Arbor Day. Going after that kind of press all by myself sucked, but I didn't have the money for a publicist or a designer or even an assistant to help me set it up. What I did know was my goal, and I understood that hard work was the only leverage I had. When I got my first chance to do a national show, I jumped at it, even though it was on a topic I didn't know and had to research long and hard just to be able to talk about it intelligently for 6 minutes. For years, I built relationships with TV producers. I pitched hundreds of segments that got rejected for everyone that got accepted. I became known as a pinch hitter. I was the person who would jump on a plane last minute and cover if someone else got sick. If you needed an expert to show up and talk about literally anything, I was your girl. I worked my butt off, and it still took 8 years. It took me 6 books and 5 years to finally get a bestseller. It took me 8 years to get on the Today Show. It took me 4 years and thousands of photos on Instagram to get 100,000 followers. I could keep listing things out of you, one after another, of how long it has all taken to get from there to here. But the point is this: it never went as fast as I wanted it to, and if I had given up because I hadn't achieved my goal by a certain date, I wouldn't have achieved any of the things you know me for today. For all my dreamers, for all my hustlers, for all my girls reading this who are building and planning, don't you dare compare your beginning with someone else's middle. Don't you dare listen when someone tells you then you need to have an end date. Your mind makers, remember, those are the things you can control. Those should have dates attached, so then you're being productive and efficient. On your guidepost, those are more nebulous and harder to achieve, and you may have to come at them 6 ways before you find something that will help you break through. It's easy to see someone else's success and be discouraged by it because we assume our first efforts won't measure up. Of course, they won't. None of my success has been a meteoric rise. When you see no is over, a decade of hard work and focus and standing back up every time I got knocked down. You don't have connections or money or access. I didn't either. I had work ethic and a dream and the patience and perseverance to see it through. It's going to be a journey and you're going to have to fight to get where you want to go, but it's also going to be worth it.